The Great Indian Bustard, India's bird on the edge of extinction. Imagine walking through the vast, dry grasslands of India. The wind is blowing gently through the grass. There are no tall trees around you. Suddenly, in the distance, you see something unusual. A huge bird is slowly walking across the open landscape. It stands almost a meter tall. Its wings stretch more than 2 meters when fully opened. This is the Great Indian Bustard, one of India's largest flying birds. But there is something heartbreaking about this magnificent creature. Today it is critically endangered. And if we don't protect it, future generations may know this bird only from photographs and videos. So, what makes the Great Indian Bustard so special? Why has its population declined so dramatically? And can we still save it? Let's find out. Chapter 1. What is the Great Indian Bustard? 045-2 war. The Great Indian Bustard, scientifically known as Ardiotis nigriceps, is one of the heaviest birds capable of flight. It belongs to the bustard family, a group of large, ground-dwelling birds found in different parts of the world. The Great Indian Bustard has a striking appearance. Its body is mainly brown, while its underside is pale or white. It has a dark crown on its head and a long neck. The male is generally larger than the female. And when this enormous bird spreads its wings and takes off, it becomes an incredible sight. Unlike many birds that spend most of their time flying through forests, the Great Indian Bustard is adapted to living in wide, open landscapes. It walks across grasslands searching for food. It watches its surroundings carefully. And during the breeding season, males perform impressive displays to attract females. This bird may look slow and peaceful, but it is perfectly adapted to life in India's harsh grasslands. Chapter 2. Where does it live? 2 and 3:15. The Great Indian Bustard once had a much wider distribution across the Indian subcontinent. Historically, it could be found across large areas of India and parts of what is now Pakistan. But over the years, its range has dramatically decreased. Today, some of the most important remaining habitats are found in western India, particularly in Rajasthan and Gujarat. These landscapes may look empty to us, but they are actually full of life. Grasslands provide food and shelter for insects, reptiles, rodents, and countless other animals. And the Great Indian Bustard is an important part of this ecosystem. It needs large open areas to survive. Unfortunately, these same open landscapes have increasingly been changed by human activity. Agriculture has expanded. Infrastructure has grown. Roads and buildings have appeared. And power transmission lines now cross many areas where these birds live. For a bird that depends on open skies, these changes can be deadly. Chapter 3. What does it eat? 3:15-4:15. So what does such a giant bird eat? The answer might surprise you. The Great Indian Bustard has a varied diet. It can feed on seeds, grasses, and other plant material. But it also eats animals such as insects, grasshoppers, small reptiles, and rodents. This flexible diet helps it survive in difficult environments. During different seasons, the availability of food can change dramatically. The bird therefore needs a large area in which it can search for different food sources. This is another reason why habitat loss is such a serious problem. When large grasslands are divided into smaller pieces, the birds have fewer places to feed. And when food becomes harder to find, their chances of survival decrease. Chapter 4. The most dangerous time of its life. For 15,530. Perhaps one of the most fascinating things about the Great Indian Bustard is its breeding behavior. The female usually lays only one egg. Think about that. One breeding attempt may produce just one chick. And that chick must survive predators, weather, food shortages, and human disturbance. The nest is extremely simple. The female generally lays the egg on the ground in open habitat. There is no large nest hidden high inside a tree. That makes the egg and chick vulnerable. If something goes wrong, the loss of that single egg can have a significant impact on the population. This slow reproductive rate is one of the reasons why recovering the species is so difficult. A bird that produces only a small number of young cannot quickly recover from a large population decline. Chapter 5. Why is it disappearing? 5:37:30. Now we come to the most important question. Why is the Great Indian Bustard disappearing? There isn't just one reason. There are several. The first major threat is habitat loss. Grasslands are often misunderstood. People sometimes think that grasslands are empty land, waiting to be developed. But they are ecosystems supporting hundreds of species. When these areas are converted into farms, roads, buildings, or other infrastructure, the birds lose their habitat. The second major threat is human disturbance. Vehicles, construction, livestock, and other activities can disturb birds, especially during breeding. But there is another threat that has become particularly serious. Power lines. Imagine flying across a huge open landscape. You have excellent vision for predators and other birds. But thin electrical wires can be extremely difficult to see. A Great Indian Bustard may fly directly into a power line. The result can be fatal. For a species with a very small remaining population, losing even a few adult birds can have a major impact. This is especially serious because adult birds are extremely valuable to the future of the population. Every adult matters. Chapter 6. A giant bird that is difficult to see. 7:38:45. Here's something interesting. Despite its enormous size, the Great Indian Bustard can be surprisingly difficult to spot. It lives in open landscapes where it can use its natural colors to blend into the environment. Its brown and sandy appearance can make it difficult to distinguish from the surrounding grassland. It is also mainly a ground-dwelling bird. Instead of constantly flying around, it spends a lot of time walking and searching for food. When disturbed, it can take flight with powerful wing beats. Watching one of these birds flying across the open sky is an unforgettable experience. But today, seeing a Great Indian Bustard in the wild has become increasingly rare. And that rarity is exactly what makes every sighting so important. Chapter 7. India's Fight to Save the Bustard. 8:45:10:30. The story of the Great Indian Bustard is not only a story about decline. It is also a story about conservation. Scientists, conservationists, government agencies, and local communities are working to protect the species. One important goal is to protect and restore its remaining grassland habitat. Another is to reduce the danger posed by power lines. In important bustard habitats, conservation efforts have included identifying dangerous power line sections and exploring ways to make infrastructure safer for birds. Captive breeding and conservation breeding programs have also been developed to create a safety net for the species. The idea is simple. If wild populations become dangerously small, carefully managed breeding can help produce birds that may eventually support population recovery. But breeding birds in captivity is not enough. The ultimate goal must be to protect suitable natural habitat where these birds can survive in the wild. Because the Great Indian Bustard doesn't just need to exist, it needs a place to live. Chapter 8. Waysai Saving This Bird Matters, 10:30-12 You might be wondering, why should we care so much about one bird? Because the Great Indian Bustard represents something much bigger. It represents India's grasslands. Grasslands are home to many plants, insects, reptiles, mammals, and birds. When we protect the Great Indian Bustard's habitat, we also protect many other species that share the same ecosystem. And there is another reason. Once a species disappears forever, we cannot bring back the original wild population. We can preserve photographs. We can preserve DNA. We can create museum specimens. But we cannot replace the living animal in its natural environment. Extinction is permanent. That is why protecting endangered species before it is too late is so important. Indian, 12-13 The Great Indian Bustard has survived for thousands of years across the dry landscapes of India. It has walked across grasslands. It has searched for food beneath the hot sun. It has raised its chicks in some of the harshest environments. But today, its future depends heavily on us. A bird that once occupied vast landscapes is now restricted to a small number of remaining areas. Its survival will depend on protecting habitat, reducing dangerous infrastructure, supporting conservation programs, and understanding the importance of India's grasslands. The next time you see an empty grassland, don't think of it as empty. Look closer. There may be insects beneath the grass, reptiles moving between the plants, small mammals searching for food, and somewhere in that landscape, there may be a Great Indian Bustard walking slowly across the horizon. A bird that has survived for generations, but may disappear within hours. The choice is still in our hands. Will the Great Indian Bustard become a memory? Or will we give this magnificent bird a future? If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who loves wildlife. Because sometimes, saving a species begins with simply making people care. The Great Indian Bustard deserves a future.